What's going on, guys? This is Metsuga, and welcome back to the channel. I have a build update for you guys. I am level 95, and I've made a whole bunch of changes. So let's check this out together, shall we? All right, so there has been so many changes made to the build. This video is probably going to be a long one. I'm going to go over all my changes. I've changed up a ton of things with my gear and passive trees and skills and all sorts of stuff. So we're going to go over everything right now. Let's start with the passive tree. So we remain Oracle. Everything is still somewhat the same, except I did make some changes. Now, some of the major changes that were made to the build are I spec'd out of Primal Hunger and I spec'd out of Lord of the Wilds. So I no longer have these, and I do miss out on some of these nodes here, like this here, don't really need it. The area effect, don't really need it. I have plenty of area effect. I was able to grab these two nodes without pathing by taking this, or taking one of these, yeah. I think it was this one or this one, but I found that if I just path through here, it was worth just pathing through here. Crit chance, leech, and regen is all quite good stuff here, so synergizes with the build. So I do lose rage. However, I went ahead and spec'd into this section here, which gives me 21 more rage, which now I have the full rage benefit. Currently sitting at 51 rage with a 51% attack bonus on top of getting the physical damage for every 10 rage. So getting about 60% physical damage from this here. Let's see here. Probably one of the biggest changes I've made to the build is pack encouragement. Now, this gives you 5% attack damage increase for each minion in your presence, up to 80. I added in the wolf pack. I've got 7 wolves. So when they are in my presence, I get a 35% attack damage bonus. If you look at Shred or any of these numbers here, you can see that they're fluctuating. So when I go further away from them, the number goes down, but when they're close to me, it goes up. So typically the buff, it's only, because in mapping, they're spread out. So I'm not always getting the buff, but when we're on a boss or a big, rare or something, the pack all comes together and it's tightly knitted. So you do get the buff. So that's 35% for those 7. And then we added Living Lightning to Arctic Howl. And this is a minion skill, and it does create 8 minions, up to 8 minions. So with all of that put together, if I got everything going, it's about a 75% attack boost when all the minions are out. They're not always out, and this actually works better on Herald of Ice, or any other skill, honestly. But we put it here just because Herald of Ice doesn't work on the boss, and I really don't need the extra attack damage unless I'm on a boss, or a super hard Abyss unique or rare or something, right? So I just put on Arctic Howl because I do use it on the boss, and it does do damage. So it does, summon the lightning minions. So it is a pretty significant damage boost without the wolf pack here. So you can see, like, with them gone, it's at 63 on Shred, 68. It's a 5,000 damage boost just by summoning the wolves, right? It's a massive boost in damage. Back to the tree here. I did spec out of this section here the attack speed and attack damage immobilization. It's an optional section, and I decided to take some of those skill points and I put it down into crit chance, gaining the strength. It just helps me equip gear because the build is very attribute hungry. It's tough to fit everything in, so that extra 10 strength actually helps quite a bit. And the crit chance helps quite a bit too. Even though we have inevitable crits, we still want crit chance. I also took these nodes down here, these attack area damage nodes. What I found out is it scales harder than physical damage. So if you look here at the tooltip, this would give me about 1,100 damage for 10% physical. 10% area would give me about 1,400. So it is slightly stronger to take these nodes. And so it's only 3 nodes to get down to this 25% attack, which is, about a 3,500 boost in damage. So I went ahead and pathed down here. And then I went ahead and grabbed these life regeneration nodes. So since I have Zealot's Oath up here, right? So the energy shield doesn't recharge, but it recovers from your life regeneration. As you can see here, I'm sitting at 250 life regeneration. That's a lot of life regeneration just standing here. Now, stand ground is interesting because it states that you gain 1% of maximum life per second while affected by damaging elements. Well, we're always being affected by bleeding, ignite, poison all the time doing these 6-mod T15 maps. So that's fantastic. And then 1% of max life per second while stationary. Now, this doesn't seem like a lot, right? Like when you read it, it doesn't seem like a lot. However, if you look at the tooltip here, by equipping this node, you get a massive life recovery per second. Now, let me show you. So we're sitting at 250 while stationary. We start moving, we're at 150, right? So it's a big difference between the two. Now, here's the thing though, is we're always stationary. The moment we're vulnerable is when we're attacking, right? We're always attacking. Every time we attack, we get that bonus. It's 100. It gives me 100 more life recovery per second, which is humongous. Now that goes even further, with Pounce, right? So with Pounce, 525, right? And that's because with Pounce, you create the consecrated ground with Holy Descent, and you get 5% regeneration from that as well, amongst, curses having reduced effect on, which is fantastic. Now, the regeneration is massive, and it's only possible if you get flat regeneration on your gear. You don't need it on every piece. I only have it here on the chest, and I only got it here on the helm. But I made sure I got T1 regen on these 2 pieces, and that way I didn't have to get them on everything else. I feel like any more, like you could probably put some here instead of life per kill. Life per kill is great, except I have cannibalism on time of need. So I already have life recovery on kill. And this is probably more than enough for on kill. This is a crazy awesome skill. So I could probably increase it more if I wanted to. But we'll see, down the road. Anyway, so back to the tree here. So that's why I went with these life regen nodes. Only 3 nodes and I'm already here, right? So it's a pretty good pickup. Let's see here. Anything new here? I did spec out of this for now. However, I'll probably pick this back up. I did notice things, bosses being a little tougher to freeze, and me being frozen and susceptible to freeze more. So I'll probably pick this up on my next level. Let's see here. We grabbed these nodes here for some extra tankiness. So my gems. So I have standard rare gems in here with just damage that synergizes with the build. I have one there, and I have one here as well. I picked these up early on, and they were pretty cheap. Nowadays, these things are crazy expensive. Like, I have no idea what this thing is worth, but I've never, like, you're looking in the divine range, right? Like, this one right here is 40 divine, right? So, like, I picked this up for, like, I don't know, like 20 exalts at the start of the season. And I've had it ever since. And it's just gone up in price because the wolf got better and people are figuring out how to play the wolf now, right? So I did pick up this. This is a new addition, the Heart of the Well. Now, there's probably a better option, but this one has crit chance, life regen, leeches instant, and energy shield from the body armor, right? And it gives a pretty good amount of energy shield. Let's see, 2272, 20. So it's about 200 plus energy shield I'm getting from this as well. So it just synergizes with the build, damage, and tankiness, right? So when I'm trying to put together a build here, it's trying to be, you know, high damage, high survivability. We want both, right? And I think that's pretty much the changes I made on the tree. Oh, I also made, so on my weapon set 2, I did make some changes here. Originally, I had pathed down here into this cooldown Warcry section. However, I respec'd and I decided to go up here and grab these Warcry speeds and this critical weakness on enemies. And so now I am able to apply some more crit hit chance. That way I don't lose as much critical damage bonus from inevitable crits, because hits have less crit damage each time it has to reroll. So the higher your crit chance, the higher your damage, right? And then I also went ahead and went down here with weapon set 2 and grabbed all this total power counted by war cries. They have a minimum of 10 power, so you're gonna get an increase on your bare minimum, which is fantastic. And then they have a 15 chance to empower 3 more attacks, which is awesome, right? So this just synergizes with the build so good, you know, because we do have an empowered attacks here on the tree as well. Empowered attacks here as well. Damage increase. Plus they explode if you kill them with an empowered attack. So we have empowered attacks all over the place. We also have Pounce with Fist of War. Ancestrally boosted counts as being empowered. We also have our Lunar Assault with Ancestral boosted, which is also empowered. So we're fully taking advantage of the empowers. And then I pathed up here as well, and this gives you Warcries empower an additional attack. So we're just getting massive damage buffs from Arctic Howl here, which is great. Now, all I have on this talisman is Arctic Howl. You don't want to put Lunar Blessing on the same talisman as Lunar or as Arctic Howl. And the reason for that is because Lunar Blessing is a DPS skill. It does all of my damage, right? It's there to do the damage, right? So Lunar or Arctic Howl is there to support It's buffing, it's debuffing, it's empowering all of the build and all of my attacks, right? And then I switch to my main skill, and that's where the damage, you know, you get all this damage that I spec'd into. It all goes into Lunar Blessing, right? And the reason for that is the moonbeams. So the moonbeams are where all the damage comes from, right? These things do massive, like 80,000 damage per second with these moonbeams. It's way higher than Shred or Cross Slash or anything. It's way higher. This is a humongous amount of damage here. So that's why you want to not have, even though it's a Warcry, all you're gonna get is, you know, Warcry speed, and these are all things cooldown. It's not needed. You want your damage on Lunar Blessing, okay? So that's pretty much it. And then the Talisman, right? So my second Talisman for the weapon set. I crafted this. I was originally going for something really chunky. I bricked the item, but I did get increased Warcry cooldown by 25%. So that was actually quite awesome. So I was like, you know what? I'll just make this my second Talisman. And, you know, my Arctical is sitting at 4.7 seconds. I think it was a little lower when I spec'd down here before, because you get all this cooldown in here. Yeah, you get massive cooldown. However, with specking over here and getting this on the Talisman, 4 seconds is plenty, right? So I think that's it for the changes in the build. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Now, the Wolf Pack, you know, being the newest addition to the build, they are not there to do any damage. They don't do damage. They are there to empower the wolf. We went ahead and spec'd into Romira's Requital. And what this does is 10% of damage from hits is taken to the minions before they hit me. And then I recruit 200% of that damage taken by the minions. They have less life, but this just gives me more padding, right? More survivability. We also equip them with blind, so they are blinding enemies as well, so it's helping with survivability. We put the +1 to support skills. Now, what this does is, if you go into the tooltip, you'll see that this affects their stats entirely, right? If you go to the basic attack here, or minion info, right, their life, if you take this out, it's just 1 level, but it changes all their stats, their armor, their life, their damage, everything is changed, right? 305 on their basic, 346. So just each level, you know, increases their effectiveness. And then the other thing I added was bleed, right? Because there's not many options to go with for the wolf pack, because they're not there to do damage. But what's nice about having them bleed is it gives a little bit of damage, you know, to the enemies that they're doing. However, what's really cool about it is I'm able to equip a bleed 4 on my shred, which states that you get 30% more melee physical damage against bleeding enemies. You cannot bleed enemies with shred, but you can inflict an incision. So this, like, it's a debuff that it gets stronger and eventually they start bleeding, right? What's good about this, right, is before I had a skill gens here. If we go here to melee, I had a, what was it? This guy, heavy swing, which gives 35% more, which is 5% more physical damage. However, it gives me less attack speed, right? So now I get 30% with no downside on attack speed. which is amazing because when it comes to shred, you really want it to attack as fast as possible. So, with crescendo, those final 2 strikes, you want to get through those quickly, right? So you got attack speed here, and you got attack speed here, right? Which is fantastic. So I've got crescendo, I've got rapid attacks, close combat, heft. It's a pretty juicy buff, as you can see. It's a nice buff, and bleed 4. And then so with cross slash, we've got heft, bleed 4 as well, because whenever we're on a boss, they're bleeding. And cold attunement, heavy swing, because attack speed really doesn't matter with cross slash. It's just one big hit, and then execute. Lunar assault, and we've got Batir's vengeance. This is fantastic as we at max rage we're at like 51, 52. Depends on which talisman I use. I have 2 different ones right now. I've got a rage one, and I've got this shock one. They're both very similar in damage. I can't actually figure out which one I want to keep because I'll get to the talismans in a second. That's a whole nother topic. Yeah, so the more rage you have, the more damage you do. More attack speed, more damage. Ancestral boosted. This just it does big damage, but it also helps with clear as you are able to hit multiple enemies at a time. And then armor break to frozen enemies. We went over the wolf pack. Herald of Ice. So we've got cold attunement, more damage. Big area of effect. Ice fragments for explosions and more damage and more damage. This just affects all the base stats, right? Levels. And then we also got Time of Need. It's still very, very good. I love that it removes curses and ailments. You want to reduce the cooldown on here so you can get those heals faster and get those cleanses faster. Cannibalism for healing on kill, and regen 1% of max life per second. I do not have enough spirit for Vitality 2, but Vitality 1, it does provide a significant amount. So 250, if you pull this thing out, 195, right? So it's worth putting in there, even as level 1 support. Lunar Blessing. So this one here, we have increased skill effect. We've got +1 to the base stats of the level here. More damage and more cooldown rate, because you want to keep it up 100% of the time or as close as possible. And Cold Attunement. Again, this one here is optional. I think there's a better one. I just haven't found it yet. So we put this here because it does give a pretty good buff to the Moonbeams. Yeah, 70, 83. It's actually huge, right? And then Pounce, we've got Shocking Leap to create shocked ground on crit. We're always critting, so this always happens. Freeze Mark. What this does is it marks enemy, and they take more freeze build up, and they become frozen when primed. And when I consume the mark through cross slash, I gain a 30% buff to cold damage. Mark for Death. This breaks armor, and we do a ton of physical damage as well as cold damage, but we also do a lot of physical. So armor break is fantastic. And this is ancestrally boosted, also known as empowered. And then we have Arctic Howl, right? So this is just a buff. This is going to empower attacks. It's going to buff the wolf minions or any allies I have. It's also going to freeze enemies, knock back enemies, and it's also empowering my attacks. We've got Cold Exposure. So this is going to apply exposure on crits. We're always critting. We put the living lightning for the minions. We've got echoing cry here, so this has a massive wide AoE effect here. It pulses and it just gets bigger and bigger. You can see my rage going up, so that's the next skill here is raging cry. So with echoing cry, right, you have to move in order for it to work, but it's really not a big deal. You can see that I can't use it unless I move a certain distance. It's a small distance. See that? Boom, it's back, right? So it's actually amazing. And you can see how much rage it generates just by one use of it. Boom, boom. Half a bar is full, right? So this thing is amazing. And then Ice Bite, right? So this just empowers all of my other attacks when I freeze by 30%. So those are all of the skills that I have here. So we've gone over the passive tree, we've gone over the skills, and now to the gear. So as far as Talisman goes, I just made this. I crafted this morning. Now, if you look at... So this is an interesting thing with these talismans. So I'm starting to learn that the DPS rating... So if you go to like the trade site, there's a DPS rating here, right? So this one's at a 651 DPS. Total DPS, right? And if you look at this one here... Right, this one is at a 836 DPS. This one has higher physical DPS and it has higher DPS in general, right? Now, here's the funny thing about these talismans is, so you have this talisman here. I crafted this and I hit all these things. The last thing that I hit, you can see this increased elemental damage. This was the last prefix or modifier on this item that I ended up getting on it, and I was bummed out about it. I was like, damn, that's not what I wanted, right? Like I wanted to get some more physical damage, maybe some cold damage, would have been fantastic. However, here's the thing, right? Is this thing it's like 200 more total DPS than this guy, right? If you look at my skills here, like if you look at Shred, right, it's at 68. Put this on, this is at 73, right? So it's a pretty big damage boost. So cross slash, 81, 83, right? So the DPS tooltips over here for all my skills, right, are stating that, see the Herald Device though, the Herald Device is at 35 though with this one, right? Over this guy, right? That's because this thing scales with elemental damage. That's the big difference between these two items, is the elemental damage boost. So this item, lower DPS, lower physical DPS. However, with that big chunky 109 increased elemental damage, it is affecting my Herald Device big time. But what I did notice when you go into Lunar Blessings Moonbeams, we're at 84,000, right? With this one, if we put on this one, it's 76. So the Moonbeams take elemental damage, increased elemental damage with attacks. It does scale much better with that modifier than it does with the physical damage modifiers. You can see that this physical damage on this one is 526, 315, 526. As to where this one is 234, 693. It's a much higher physical damage talismans. And if you go to like the trade sites, right, and you look at, these are all the talismans right now that are at 1,000 DPS or more, right? Most of these guys have high physical damage, right? Like 700, 800. You'll notice that a lot of these have fire damage. You want to stay clear away from the fire damage. It will not scale with your build at all. And you'll see a ton of these fire talismans in here. I think people are starting to realize that the DPS, this total DPS number is not always a good representation of what's good for your build. You need to know what a lot of these stats are. And another thing about these talismans, when you're trying to scale your wolf, if you're going to do Lunar Blessing scaling for the damage here, is you want to make sure that your talisman has elemental damage with attacks, also high physical, but you want to make sure with these Oracle Wolf builds, you got a minimum of 8% crit chance minimum, and you want to have a minimum of 1.5 attacks per second. These two stats are humongous, right? Attack speed and crit chance. You want to have those base stats before you have this big chunky physical. I just sold a Jade Talisman for like 15 divine today, and then I sold one a couple of days ago that was even higher. It was like a 900 physical damage Jade Talisman that I had bought thinking I was getting an upgrade. My build, I put it on. It was less damage for my shred and my moonbeams. It was less damage than this Thunder Talisman. Well, the Jades, they have 5% base crit chance, and I believe they have a lower attack speed as well. So they do have the highest physical, I believe. The Jades do. Let's see, where are they at? They're like all over the place, these Jade Talismans, right? Surely we've got Jade Talisman somewhere in here. Oh, they're not going to be here because I have my filters set to a 1.5 attack speed, right? You take these off, probably start seeing the Jades, right? Let's got alphas now. I'm gonna find a Jade Talisman. They're usually flooded in here. Anyway, here's one here, right? So 1.28 attacks per second. That is with attack speed on the weapon, right? So as you know, that's a slow attack speed weapon here. This thing here, and you know, this weapon is a fantastic weapon. It'll be a great weapon. But I wouldn't touch this thing, not for the build that I have. This would be great for some sort of fire build or something that doesn't require a lot of attack speed, but you're better off going with something that has more crit chance and more attack speed. Yeah, this thing only has 8.43 and it has a massive crit chance buff here, right? Like these other ones, they're going to be much better, right? Unless you get some like stupidly high Jade Talisman. Like you can see their physical damage. It's really high, right? It's got a really high low and a really high high, but I found them to not be that great for this build. So I'm not sure which one. So this one does have rage, so I do like this one. I've been using it, and so I'm still undecided which one I'm going to keep. But you do want to make sure you have the 5 levels to attack skills. This is a massive damage boost. Moving on to the gear here. So I am a armor, energy shield, and life stacking hybrid build. I try to get life on every single piece of armor here. As you can see, I'm trying to get life. And the reason for that is for the regen. So your life regen percentage goes up the higher your health is. So I'm trying to get as much armor and energy shield but I want to prioritize health on the gear, right? So everything's got health. For the head, I got some rarity with some crit, regen, resistances, right? On the body armor, I had to get more spirit because getting 49 on the amulet was not enough. Not enough because Wolfpack costs 60 spirit, and having Herald of Ice and to keep these three running, I needed more spirit, so I had to get it on the chest, which puts my my armor down, but that's fine, right? See, I got some intelligence here. Now, this build is very hungry for stats. If you try to make this build and you're playing with the wolf, you're going to run into all sorts of issues because Herald of Ice takes dex, and Lunar Blessing takes int and strength, right? And these talismans take, you know, this one takes 100 strength, this one takes 102 strength. So you need all three stats to make it all fit together. So you got to put multiple attributes on your gear. I got int, and then chaos res. As you can see, my chaos res is maxed out, and that's because a lot of this stuff in the end game is just chaos damage. So like eventually I will get this fire res. My plan is to get a gem like one of these here. So trying to get a gem that I have, but with like, you know, a small amount of fire res. That's what I will be looking for to cap out my fire res. That way I don't have to do anything different to my gear. The only thing that I could do is maybe get a new ring and get fire res on it, but I'll just try to get a gem. Moving to the belt, we got 3 charm slots. This thing is crazy. I can't believe I crafted this. I probably won't ever get a better one. It's got chaos res, lightning res, life regen on flask. It's got huge health, energy shield, max energy shield, int. Yeah, this is just crazy. So just all survivability here. Gloves, I crafted these myself. Attack speed, crit damage bonus. These are crazy ass gloves. T1 everything, T3 leech. This is awesome. I crafted these yesterday. So T1 life, armor, energy shield, and some attack speed and crit damage bonus. This is like the Exodia gloves here. This is fantastic. And then boots. So I purchased these. These are a double slotted armor, energy shield boots with movement speed, rarity, resistances, and strength for attribute because it's needed. To the rings. So we've got the cold modifiers. Now, if you guys don't know anything about the quality of these rings, I put cold on here because it increased the cold damage. It also increases the elemental resistances, right? If you look, it says 16%, but if I press Alt, you can see that it's 14%, right? It's only 16 because of the cold modifier. So it was increased as well, okay? But again, life stacking, we got physical damage flat, and our resistances. Over here, we got some rarity. As you can see that I'm trying to put rarity in places. It is important to have some sort of rarity to keep generating currency. The thing that I would replace on this one is the gain life guild, right? Everything else is fine. On the amulet, we got Throat Seeker. Bruh, can I not? So we got Throat Seeker here, and this one is fine. I don't think it's that great, but, you know, I had to try it, so it's on there. But we've got double rarity on this guy, Spirit, Life, Max Energy Shield, and Resistances. And then up here, we got Regen, Crit Chance, Rarity, Life, right? So I only got Regen on 2 pieces of gear here. And then these are all the charms, right? So I keep charms on me based on my needs. So if I'm in a mission that has ignited ground, you know, I pop this on. If I'm getting poisoned all the time, you know, I pop this one on, right? If I'm getting stunned a lot, you know, or if there's not, like, let's say it's a map that doesn't really have any of this stuff, I'll run with the stun charm. I try to run with the stun charm as much as possible, because there's nothing worse than, you know, flying through the map and then, you know, falling over and then just getting killed because you can't stand up. Like, I don't know what's up with that mechanic, but it's crazy to me that you fall over and you literally take an hour to get up, and then you die. Like, it's like the number one reason why I die is because I fall over. Like, who falls over when, like, I don't know. That mechanic is just so strange to me. Anyway, so that's pretty much the build. As far as the Atlas tree goes, this is where I got my Atlas tree right now. I pretty much pathed over here grabbing rarity, you know, and explicit modifiers. And then I pathed over here getting pack size, all this pack size here. And then I went into shrines, getting all the shrines, right? And the reason why I did shrines is because of this seeking shrine. They grant rarity, right? So I'm trying to get through the map as fast as possible. And shrine, you get a haste shrine. I mean, the map just goes really fast. You got increased rarity, so stuff's dropping everywhere. I'm actually finding the shrine stuff to be pretty cool. I just spec'd into this, I think, yesterday. It's absolutely awesome. I might take this out, these two nodes, and place them somewhere else. I don't think I need this. I could put it into essences. I could put it into more explicit modifiers, right? I don't think, as a matter of fact, I'll just respec it right now. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. There are many other options here. You know, pack size, explicit modifiers. I like essences. I do a lot of crafting, so I'll just put them here for now. We went ahead and took this node, pathed up here, you know, took all the explicit modifiers, and took this. We're trying to hit those swamp and water biomes to get that basic currency. Also forest for jewels, because I'm farming jewels to try to get that fire res on a corruption. And then, you know, just making sure that our waystones are in our precursor tablets are juiced to the max. That's pretty much that there. And then we got the boss stuff up here, right? We took the rarity, we got the quantity, and we've got essences, right? So, and then the thing that I'm farming, like, I've got Abyss done. I'll do it if it's in the map, but I found this to take a long time. You do the Abyss, and then you go in the depths, and it takes a long time to get through the map. I want to get to the Vault Temple as fast as possible. So I've been doing Ritual, and this is really great for the Wolf because it really doesn't take long. And this gives you crazy omens that are worth insane value, and they're so good for crafting. So between essences and ritual farming and then hitting those abysses every once in a while, you know, I get to craft all that I want, right? That's pretty much all I do is just ritual and then shrines. And then essences, right? Because they're so fast. They're like a blink of an eye done. Anyway, guys, let's grab a map. Oh, and one tip here. If you are playing this build, there is maps you want to stay away from. Let's see if I can find one. So, oh, here's one right here. So players have less recovery rate life shield. Stay clear of these. This will make the map much, much harder. And you're more susceptible to dying. The other one that you want to stay away from, let's see if I can find one here. Where is it? It's cooldown. Players have less cooldown recovery rate. You want to stay away from this because this will prevent you from staying in Lunar Blessing all the time. It will prevent you from Arctic Howling. It will prevent you from pouncing. So stay clear. It'll make your cross slash more of a cooldown. So I sell those. You know, like once I get through my maps that I've 6 modded, I sell those maps because I most likely, if I'm going to, like, this one is a hard no. It's got both. This is bad news for this build. Everything else is on the menu though. Like, so this one's 6 mod. We've got poison, evasive, a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Crit damage doesn't really scare us because we take reduced crit damage from our passive tree, right? So what we'll do is I'm going to use this talisman. I still can't decide on which one I want. Let's go run a map real quick. Showcase the build with you guys. I just cleared this node here, or this corrupted nexus here. So we've got grass, forest. Fantastic. I need to go get another tablet. So let's just grab like a shrine tablet. Let's see, shrines. Shrines. Let's see if we got any rarity. Okay, so we got shrines. We got rarity. Do we have any ritual tablets? We got ritual tablets here. Okay, this one's rarity. And yeah, this one actually is yeah, grab this, put this in here, and I usually run one of these +1 to monster level, and 2 rituals. That way I can get you know, those omens. All right, so the way that I play this, I usually just come into these things, try to avoid this, but just want me to pop Arctic Howl, you know, boost up some of that rage, and then Lunar Blessing. And then, you know, once you've got Lunar Blessing going, you just drop to the race. You're popping Arctic Howl, you know, as much as you possibly want. Grab the guns. As you can see, like, as soon as it's over, we're already back. We got our first ritual. And you can, sometimes you could just stand here and just do this. Notice the moonbeams just clear it. It's that quick, right? Like, easy peasy. When you Lunar Bless, you want to make sure that you're not just standing still, so you don't get pummeled by enemies. So a lot of times when I do Lunar Blessing, I will dodge roll, okay? Grab the shrines, grab all these white items. You want to grab all those white items. Okay, we got our lightning minions with us. Look at that whole section just cleared with one swipe. It's crazy. Boom. I mean, isn't that crazy? Yo. This is why I like shrines, man, because these shrines just make these runs so easy. And I got so much regen that I can just stand here, tornado and everything. It's not really that scary, right? And then, so you've got these omens in here, like this one here. I mean, look at the price of this thing. This thing is 1,500 exalts for this Omen of Dextral Annulment, right? It costs a lot of tribute, but you can defer these things, right? So I'm going to defer it, drop the cost. I'll get it in a later ritual, but you're guaranteed to get it, right? Like, it's not like, oh, I have to, you know, like, get a chance to get it. There's a chance of it rolling in your ritual, but once it's there and you deferred it, like, it's yours, right? Boom. mean, bye-bye boss, right? Like, that was... I have another ritual in here, so I am going to go through it before I go claim... before I go claim the power. 709. Just loot everywhere. Logs. You want to pick all that stuff up. Grab all these white items. This is good stuff here. Go back and loot. And you can see how fast my Arctic Howl is. Like it's seamless, right? Like pop it and go. See that? Like, and it's echoing. And it's already back, right? So we just pop it again, constantly buffing. So you can sit here and just watch these moonbeams, right? These moonbeams kill everything. Like, it's crazy just how good it is. So we have the dextral annulment deferred. We definitely want to grab this. This is, you know, all these omens are great for crafting. If you're like me and you're into crafting perfect regals, how much does it cost? $574. We're not going to do the Orb of Alchemy. No, thank you. We'll reroll. Let's see here. We can grab this now or defer it. Let's try to defer this guy. Oh, we can't do it yet. Let's see. Some of this stuff we can grab. $595. We're just going to defer. Come back for it. Make it cheaper. Confirm. We can defer some more. Yeah. More of these omens. For that, and that's all we're doing. We're not caring about this gear or nothing like that, so it doesn't take a lot of time. You don't have to, you know, look through all this stuff. You don't care about these maps. You don't care about these alchemies. There's exalts in here, you know, don't care about those either. If you see orbs of annulment, divines, grab those, right? But you're here for the omens. That's what you're here for. Anyway, let's grab these white items. And I think we're good here. Let's go grab our tower and get out of here. So the goal that I have when I do my runs is I just try to go through it as fast and quick as possible. Just get through the map, get through my ritual, grab the Vol Temple stuff. You know, because I want to get to those Vol Temples because there's a lot of currency to be had and experience in the Vol Temples. Anyway, guys, let's go back to town. And for those of you that want to know some things about crafting, you know, I can make a future video on what I do as far as crafting goes. But typically, I just pick up white items in the maps. You know, I get back, store all my stuff here, right? Like all these currency items, tablets, you know, all the junk. Right? I store that. And then all of these items, they will get greater. And then based on what this rolls, if it's a talisman, it rolls a suffix. I will hit it again to see what I get. T4, junk. T4, junk. T1, keeper. T3, junk. T3, junk. T1, keeper. Reduced ignite, it's a suffix, so we can attempt. T1 on the helm. T2 lightning, so these 5 are all okay to hit with these guys, right? And then we got a double T1 here, so we can go further with this. T3 cold res, you can do this, it's fine, but for where I'm at in the end game, this is now bricked. This one here is bricked. This one is a T2, so we'll move this. That's fine because it's res. I like to do only T2 reses because the more res you have on one piece, the less you have to get on the rest, which makes gearing much easier. And then when I have these armor pieces that I want to, go further with, I hit them with the Greater Regal, right? This one's bricked, right? T4. This one hit rarity on T1. This is a keeper. This one hit a T1 suffix, which is acceptable because for boots, I still have 2 prefixes, so I can still hit movement speed on these. And you can see I haven't spent much currency, right? This really hasn't costed anything. And from here, there is options, right, that you can do. You have these 2 left. Do you want to spend more on these? Usually what I do is, since exalts, they come real fast. You saw how many exalts I got on that last run. Like every 5 minutes, I'm getting multiple exalts. Dropping 1 on here is fine, right? Because it can roll bad, it can roll great. We'll hit this thing with an exalt. P4 intelligence, right? Not necessarily the greatest. However, int on a helm int on gear is fine. Like this one here, I have 28 strength. This one's 27 int. So this one still has potential, right? We'll go ahead and hit this here. T7 cold res. It's a brick, right? So you can try to, I can go further with this and try to get movement speed. However, earlier, if you were, several levels under me, this might be worth dropping a couple of exalts on to try to get movement speed and maybe some tankiness. But for me, this is a brick, but we're not spending a ton of currency. We're not going into abyss crafting or omens or anything. We're just dropping a couple of exalts and seeing where it goes. Since this hit T4, and I don't need this, it's also a mana, right? T1, which it's not something that sells very well. So I'm going to call this fine. We spent a couple of exalts. Quickly, we're going to sell. We'll make use right? Of this. Gone. You can go further and further with these things, the better that they are, and depending on where you are in the game. If I would have hit another T1 or T2 modifier on either one of those, I would have moved into abyss crafting and go from there. But I don't like to do it unless I get something really good, a good weapon, right? So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was long. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. If you want me to make any videos on any other content, let me know in the comments. Thanks. Have a good one.